to the meeting. We've got the board president and our town administrator. We are recording the minutes to assist in minute taking and such, so if you are gonna speak for any particular reason, whether it's public comment or otherwise, please announce your name so we know who you are, just in case we don't catch it. So it'll be on the electronic record to help Lean. So, righty. Who wants to make a motion on the minutes?
I can do that. Okay, I will make a motion to approve the regular selectmen meeting minutes from Thursday, March 17, 7:01 PM, as written.
Second.
Okay, we got a second, any discussion, gentlemen?
I am good with it.
Alright.
Good job, Lean, doing the transcribing.
Yes, I agree.
I'm sure that wasn't easy with background noise and et cetera.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We've got two more to go.
Yep. One of your stack of those, or?
You wanna sign this now or later?
I'll sign it later.
Later?
Okay.
Okay, then
We'll stack them up.
I'll stack on this side. Flip them this way.
Okay, I have, non-public selectmen meeting minutes from March 17. It's 8:23 PM. I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Alright, any discussion, gentlemen?
Nay.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yourself?
And I will make a motion to approve the Dunbarton selectmen, minutes, non-public, for, March 17th at 7:45 PM as written.
Got a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Nay.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. There we go, Bob. One more time. You'll learn to either write your name really well, quick, or sloppy, one or the other. Or you're done.
Don't try to get a prescription with that.
Just be glad you didn't have to sign the checks like we used to. God, you get right as crap. Alrighty, we're gonna try something new, and it's on the agenda. Public comment first, after the minutes.
Okay.
All those,
Okay.
Leo?
Yeah, Leo Martell, I just, I didn't think of it last week. Are we gonna get to see any of the samples that they're gonna use for the roof when we have that public hearing?
That's our intent.
Okay, I'm just curious if they
They've
were gonna
been
do that.
requested a sample of the roof and the spec sheet that accompanied it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Absolutely, cause we
Yeah.
wanna see samples.
Yeah,
of
we
the-
want to see
Yeah,
it
right,
too.
right, that's, I was just
Yep.
curious, all right, good, thank you.
I think, you requested samples from both little bidders, Slate and Metal?
Correct.
So-
That is my interpretation of the
Yeah.
minutes. I didn't bother to get any samples from the high bid. Did we wanna go that route? It's pretty, it's
We'll
quite a
take it
bit.
all
I would think not at this
Okay.
point.
Start with a little bit, and
Right.
if we disqualify them, then we go to the next one. So.
Well,
So your
Might
questions?
wanna get some from the high bidder anyways, what if it's a product that you prefer?
They should be the same in theory, cause that's what we spec'd
Yeah,
out.
there was a spec wheel in that.
Yeah, right, I
RFP
understand that, but I mean, I'm looking at the, what you're looking at.
Well, until we disqualify the low bidder, our policy is to go to the low bid,
Okay,
so,
all right,
I hate that they can go through all that extra work and have them spend money just to.
no, I understand that, right, I do
They
understand that.
may tell us that they're not interested,
Yeah.
knowing they're not the low betters.
Ralph?
Ralph Feldbaum. So who's gonna supervise the use of the products that are spec'd, to be sure that they use the products that are spec'd? Cause I spec'd them on this roof, and they were totally ignored, and had I been on the roof, I'd have been pissed. Because they didn't use what I specified on that. I went through with John Wiggins to specify, so we had a fire rating on the roof.
Yep.
None of those products were used. I specified a specific nail, corrosion resistant nail. None of those were used, and they're significantly higher in price, so that, who's gonna supervise that to
You
make
want
sure?
the
that
job
those
as a
products are
construction
used?
administrator?
What's that?
You want the job as a construction
No,
administrator?
it ought to be specified that the building department sees to it that they adhere to the specs sent forth.
Our building inspector is supposed to be our eyes and ears on projects of that nature.
Didn't happen last time, and I brought it to the attention of the then town administrator, who apparently did nothing about it.
Hey, was it Kyle that was the inspector back then?
Back then, I don't know who was the
Yeah.
inspector.
Yeah, that was
Cause I
fine.
remember him inspecting it
Yeah, that was Kyle back then.
almost at the end point where it was almost too late.
The point was, is the underlayment wasn't was the fire rating that I expected, neither were the nails.
Well, we haven't got to that point yet, but I mean, I think between now and then we'll have to figure out, you know, if we're gonna have a contract administrator or, you know, whatever you wanna call them, someone to keep an eye on them, whether it's the building inspector or one of us or someone else that, you know, wants a part-time job that's qualified to do that sort of thing, you know, we have to kinda figure out. Because my personal opinion is the only way to keep an honest man honest is to watch them.
Yeah.
So if they're supposed to be using certain products and
Well, even at that, I
installing
mean,
in certain ways, then
I had also specified, horizontal and vertical lines, and if anybody looks at that roof, you can tell there wasn't a vertical line snapped on that either.
yeah,
I mean, other than the gazebo, which I think Lean's husband did.
right. So, no, that's all valid questions.
The installer that have submitted their bids for this current project, is it the same installer?
I think it's the same two people we had the last time, to be honest with you.
It is.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, so, we sent out 21, 22 bids, or
21.
packets, 21 packets.
Mhm.
To everybody and their brother, and the only two that submitted were the two that we had before, so I guess we weren't too far off the last time we sent it out.
Well, I guess to Ralph's point,
Excuse me.
you know, if there was some concern about the installation of that roof and using the same contractor, should we have those same concerns?
Well, I
Well,
know it's the same contractor, right?
No, that's what I'm asking, I don't know.
This material that's on it, no, they no longer, no, they are
How about the
completely.
contractor that did the install? That's what I'm asking about, the
I'm
people
not
that did
talking
the work.
about the material.
People that did the work,
On the roof that, was
the existing roof, yeah,
correct,
yeah. Are they one of the bidders?
no, they are not.
Oh, okay, excellent, thank you. Okay, that's what I was trying to get to.
I think you were familiar with them, weren't you, Fred?
No, I didn't know who they were.
Okay,
I think it was somebody, I thought it was somebody
Les
that
knew.
Les knew.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We're in the public comment phase, anybody else have any comments?
Hey, just a question, so now you're gonna ask questions, or people can ask questions about what's gonna be talked about tonight? Or what has been talked about in the past?
Any and all, public comment is public comment, you got a comment you wanna make, or a question you wanna ask, whether it's last week,
So-
or 2 months ago, or something that's coming up tonight.
There'll be no comment,
No, we'll have public
as-
comment at the end again.
but I mean, as to whatever item you happen to be discussing, there'll be no comment before you put it to a vote?
No, there isn't. That's our discussion, this is our meeting, you know, we allow public comment, so to hear you folks. But when it comes to actually, I mean, if you have a question while we're discussing something, I have no problem entertaining a question. But we're not gonna get into a running debate with the general populace out there regarding our discussion here, you know, whatever the topic may be.
Well, it seems kinda pointless to make a comment about something that's already been voted on, is my point.
I mean, well, I understand, you know, what
well,
you're
I think
saying.
we'd like the input though, if you know there's
Yeah.
something on the agenda item for tonight, and you have a comment on it, now would be an appropriate time to
Exactly.
make a comment on it, if that's what you're asking.
Okay,
It
so
was
our
intentional.
agenda's gonna be posted prior to the meetings?
Yeah, so-
They are,
Because we
We'll
kinda
do our
got away
best.
from that for a while.
yeah.
Going forward, what we'd like to have happen is you giving us your input before we make a deliberation on anything. In case you come up with some information that, you know, we're absent of having.
But my question is, our agenda's going to be posted prior to, because we used to have that kind of system, and then we kinda got away from it. They weren't posted on the board what the agenda was gonna be.
That's what we're hoping to do.
We're gonna do our best to make sure the agenda is out there, but things change, you know, even at the last minute sometimes. So the agendas are only a draft by the time we get to this point here now.
This
But
is,
Go ahead, Lynn.
I made my first attempt after transcribing the minutes, and if you look at the Google Calendar, under the Thursday night's meeting, and highlight it, it will have this agenda on there.
On the town's website?
Yep,
When was
It's on
that
the
posted?
calendar.
it will be a draft,
When was that
because
posted?
I posted it yesterday
Oh,
afternoon.
okay, cause I
when
went today and I couldn't find it.
Oh, yeah, you click on the
It's on the
little
calendar, yeah.
calendar,
Yeah, the little calendar on the side,
Yeah,
which I did,
Gonna hand this out.
and I clicked on agenda, and
Yeah.
nothing came up.
yeah, it pops up.
yeah, I did it
Yeah,
today, I did
okay,
it this
all right.
afternoon.
I did it this afternoon.
I'll show
I
you
couldn't do
after
anything.
if you wanna
Yeah,
try.
that's all right,
Yeah.
I'll get it.
So the intention of what we're gonna hopefully do there, Ralph, for the items that we know we're gonna carry over, you know, from one week to the other, some of these ongoing things, they should stay on there, cause we'll use that as, you know, kind of our action list, so that we don't get overtaken by the events of life and, you know, things end up getting shoved to the corner. And then anything that we know that's gonna be on the agenda for sure, you know, by Tuesday or, you know, early Wednesday, would go up there. Now, that's not to say that things won't, you know, come before us that you didn't see on the list, because it didn't come before us until,
I thought the action
you know, late in the
list
day
was in
on,
here.
Wednesday or Thursday, and just didn't get to the list.
Okay.
So, but we're gonna make an attempt anyway to catch the things that we know are coming.
Excuse me. We good on that, Ralph?
Yeah, I'm,
Okay.
I got,
I wasn't sure if you had more, or you wanted to
No,
comment? No. Any other public comment before we close it? Hearing none, all right, we're gonna close public comment and continue on with our current agenda. So, first on is the anticipated revenue for RSA 31:95-B, Police Department, where it's under $10,000. We don't have to have a public hearing on it, it just has to be on our agenda, which it is, duly noticed. We have basically a $2,500 grant, as I read it, and part of that grant is actually a match from us for $1,250 to put towards radar.
I actually read the
I
whole
saw
thing.
that.
Yep, so, yeah, I think I fell asleep after about page 6. It's pretty lengthy. A lot of standard state stuff I've seen before, but, anyway, gentlemen, I'll open the floor for discussion on what your thoughts are on accepting it.
Yeah, I don't see a problem where you're gonna get half of it paid by the state to begin with, and it's probably a good addition to the new cruiser,
Yep.
rather than chasing after it afterwards
Mhm.
and not getting a grant.
Yep,
Yeah, I would agree.
yeah, same here, I mean,
Yeah, I think we should go forward with it.
I tend to agree with you folks, because, you know, like I say, it's, you know, saves us some aggravation, saves us some money, and, you know, like I say, it's, you know, brand spanking new and a brand new cruiser, it's, everything's good to go.
In the worst case scenario, if you ended up having to change a radar detector from a older cruiser to put into that one,
Mhm.
it's gonna cost you almost what the grant would cost you,
Probably.
I would think, you know?
Yep. Alrighty, so, any other discussion on this?
I'm good.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Alrighty, we have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Alright, we have a motion, regarding accepting the grant from the state of New Hampshire Department of Safety, Office of Highway Safety for $2,500. And as part of that matching, funds, thank you, I couldn't, it took my tongue and I lost it, with matching funds of half that. Any other discussion before we vote?
I'm good.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, well then, we need to sign this then. Sub-recipient signature. That'd be us. Alright, that way, I bring, like, then I just throw the file. You're in.
Yep.
So, that was easy. Oh, we did something wrong, we're right on time for John. We did something wrong, what's going on here? You're up, John. You can come on up while we're signing this.
There you go. Hi, John.
Hi.
just swap seats around, something like,
Right?
swap seats around,
Musical chairs.
yeah.
Yeah, we figured we had a new face on the board, we'd take it and change it up for everybody to be confused, including us.
That's a new guy seat, I think.
Well, it is now.
This is about the, town office parking lot lighting.
Yep.
Okay, I'll start off by saying, that's what I, put out. Request for quotes, okay?
Yeah.
I, a area to be lighted, minimum readings and whatnot, and then, conditions, types, part number of lights that were used in this design. They can use either those or an E equivalent, all that standard stuff. I'm not gonna take you through all 7 points, but, I put out a request for quote on the first cycle to 4 vendors. I got 1 response. And I did a repeat, put out for 4 more, and I got 1 response out of that. So we have 2. What it appears to be is that the job is a little bit big for a small contractor who normally does in-house wiring, all that kind of stuff to do. And it's a little bit small for a contractor who ordinarily does parking lot lighting, okay? So we wound up with that. Do you have the copies there?
I didn't print them up.
Shall I just run?
Yeah, that might be quicker.
Don't need a color copy, just.
No, both of these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are the 2.
Do we have a copy of that, is what you sent out to? Sure. Lean, could we also, just so we know what you sent? I know it's so, you're up here, usually you're back there.
I need to get a better view.
Too many lights, too many
Oh,
lights.
I'm fine with it, just, used to seeing Fran way in the back and then she's up front, I said, something's not right here.
And wear my hearing aids tonight.
Good enough, we'll do it.
Thank you, Lean. So John, both of these guys are interested?
Yeah. As you can see, there's a fair amount of price difference.
Yep.
between them.
Are there any concerns with anything else that's already buried in the ground here near this building for excavation? Is there any reason to be concerned about?
No, 25 feet from the fence, so we don't have to worry about the
Yeah,
cemetery.
yeah, the cemetery should be
Right.
fine, but I'm just wondering, is there anything, cause I know I hear stories about, Jeff Crosby was talking about when they dug out here, they hit an old foundation or
Yeah,
something, not that that's a big deal, but is there any other reason to?
not that I can think of.
Nothing? Okay.
Well, electrical lines don't have to be 2 feet deep,
Yep,
so.
okay.
right, it's the post,
Yeah, the post is gonna be deep, I would think.
Right, post will be, but I mean,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And if they do run into something, they can move it a couple of feet if that'll help.
Okay.
The lower priced one, R&T, in the email with this that I didn't put in I didn't make a copy of. This includes, digging the hole, he says, for the pole. He says, if the town finds somebody to dig that hole, he'll take, $900 off the price. Okay? And,
is that one, Ted said you were taking shovel?
Yeah, you get the D1.
Here we go.
well, it should be a drill, but yeah. Just to minimize the disturbance of the soil around, you know. It spent a lot of years getting compacted to where it is now,
Sure.
so,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know, what we call it, Jeff, Bill, excavate that for us?
Well, I don't know, I mean, the excavation for trenching probably, but you just said it needed to be drilled.
Well, you are going down about 5 or so feet.
So you need somebody to get like a telephone pole set up.
Yeah,
Yeah, postal.
I recall speaking to Jeff and asking him whether he had equipment for doing that, and he said probably not, but, okay. So, that was
Got it.
just a variable.
Okay.
Also, item 3 on the RMT, we sort of missed a little something here, that was on this sheet here, the request for quote on item 5. Motion sensing, daylight sensor, and a shut-off time with a dimming function. He is quoting a photo cell that is dusk to dawn type of sensor, and a time clock which can be set. And one other thing that they will both do is to put a switch by each of the 3 doors, because if it's late at night and there's a motion sensor, you gotta be out there a ways for it to catch you. People living at night, they can push a button and turn the light on.
So that would turn on and then the timer would take over and shut it out?
Yeah.
Now, do these lights that you spec'd out here, don't they already have the motion sensor in it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so we shouldn't, I mean.
Well,
Cause I thought we were talking about lights that went to like a half light when there's no movement and
Right.
full light when they detect.
right, and I talked to the guy at R&T today, also at Irish District, and the story with R&T, he can do either. He can either give us a more accurate motion sensor than what would come with the pole light, okay? And go that route rather than a dusk to dawn, okay? Bear in mind, it is LED, so it is going to burn a ton less
Right.
power than that.
Well, maybe
Also,
photocell and motion sensor both, cause I mean, like I say, the photocell, you want a photocell and a motion sensor both. I mean, cause that way, you know, you have, it's getting shut off during the day, it comes on at night,
right,
and then the motion sensor, you know, if it's at minimal light, and then kicks on when there's any motion, we're good to go. I don't know why we need to augment with, you know, a light that comes with motion sensor with another motion sensor.
Yeah.
mean, it's getting kinda redundant.
Well, it's the, there are motion sensors and then there's motion sensors. Some work, better than others, like,
Sure.
some of them are like a 60 degree, some are 90. He is proposing a 180 degree. Okay, and also they
Would
will,
would come with a 360, wouldn't it? Because it's gonna be right smack dab in the middle of the light, shouldn't it?
it,
I know, ones I use my ghost cam can do 360.
it'll basically cover the entire area to be, lighted. So if something moves further out, it's not in the lighted area, so you might not wanna have it turn on if a car drove by at 13 or something.
Right, and obviously we don't want that, but.
Right. Both of them will, add a piece of metal onto the pole light housing, so that the, light source itself is not visible by the neighbors. Okay, cause the one I saw down at, St. A's,
Yep, St. A's.
right, that one there, I could get a fair distance away, not see any real light, but I could see the light source and that, and we had discussed that could be annoying.
Agreed.
Mhm.
So with this quoted figure here, we can get the, and I'm not sure what you guys are thinking, but the light that's got the motion sensor in it and all that, is that in this figure?
Which
From R&T?
yeah,
That's just the standard one, correct?
well, no, he will, flex a little bit within about a $200 range to do anything we want, and it seems to be decent. The other quote for the buttons at the door and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
He's using a solid state version, no wiring. It also, can be accessed with an app on a cell phone to turn the lights on and off.
Cool.
Interesting.
But I'm looking at a $3,000 difference, that's, you know.
Yeah.
The cost of that remote, is, not part of the difference in the price between the two quotes, but both, systems, it's a matter of the more expensive wireless hardware versus, crawling through the attic and wiring up a less expensive set of switches.
Gotcha. Oh, I can't see anything.
So that's all I can think of.
So these look like they're comparing apples to apples here in this bids.
And one is a lot higher price.
Yeah, whatever the reason.
5-foot round concrete pole base on the Irish.
That's it's 5 feet,
Depth.
depth.
Okay, cause I was gonna say 5 feet round, that's overkill.
I don't think we need that.
Yeah.
Probably don't need that.
No.
We might have to get in touch with the cemetery committee if we want to.
You may.
That kind of.
What's that?
The power is wired from that, panel right there. It goes down, and the pole is, right on that corner there, so.
But you gotta dig up the asphalt.
What?
You have to dig up the asphalt.
No.
Harvey Road.
No.
We're doing it on this side where the grass
Oh,
is.
here.
answered my question.
The pole is
Staying on
this
there.
side.
Yeah.
It's all on that side.
So I entertain questions, out there, any questions, come through us, so we don't have running debate amongst.
Well,
everybody.
because he didn't sound like,
understand what
I
you're
wasn't
trying to
asking for a running debate, I just was
I know.
asking for clarification from him.
Right, but I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
standard procedure we use here, just to keep everything on even keel, that's, that's all.
Yeah, just for Ralph's concern, reminds me of one of the lighting designs had a pole on this side and a pole over
Right.
that side.
Right.
And at that time, we said, let's go with the single pole,
Yep.
see how well that works, and we absolutely
Yep.
need, before having the tunnel under and all that kind
Right.
of stuff,
Absolutely. So I guess you're looking for okay to move forward with this?
Yeah.
We only go move quotes, we haven't approved it.
Yeah, no, we just had John go out and solicit bids.
So. Alrighty. That being said, any more questions for John?
I don't think so, no, this is pretty good.
How about you, my friend? You,
No,
up to speed, or,
I'm all set.
okay, cause
I guess, I would have a question about the digging of the hole.
Mhm.
Are we just gonna go forward and let these guys do it, or do we know someone who can drill that hole for something less than $900?
900.
I mean, if we can find someone that can do it, without really, breaking our backs trying to find them, to do it for less than 900, great, if
I'm
not.
just wondering if we knew somebody here in town that
Mm,
does pole setting at all.
right.
I don't know anyone, but,
Dunbarton telephone.
how about the phone company, do they
So
drill
I
that
was
hole?
thinking, you were saying,
Yeah. Or do they use public service when they do that?
I have no idea.
no, cause they have some of their own poles,
Do they?
Yeah,
in some
we do.
places, yeah.
I know they have some of their own place, but I don't know who sets them, if it's them or not.
Could we, contact Dunbarton Phone and see what they do? Maybe they can refer us to a contractor and just get a quote,
Or if they wanna, we could
or if they.
pay them.
Yeah, we could pay them to do it.
Can I just ask you, John?
Sure, of course.
On this R&T electrical, where is that breakdown, that pole digging? Does it say,
Oh.
break it down, or no?
It's on the email that I forgot to put in.
Okay, that's fine, as long as it's
Sorry.
somewhere.
Well, you said it the last time, when you were here last time, I think that was
Yeah.
also,
Yeah,
so
it
it's been a
was.
constant.
Okay, so it's the 900 that was in that last email as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had that running kind of
And,
quick about Ted with the D1.
Right,
and in the email, just to be specific, if the town drills the hole, he takes $900 off the price.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that comes in.
So I mean, hypothetically, the phone company does it for 500, then we save 4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you use them as an example, or whomever.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, make that phone call, maybe they can refer us to someone, cause they're in that business of setting poles.
Right.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah,
Mm.
You okay with that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, the only thing is, if they refer you to someone, you might be closer to the $900.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, maybe, that's why it's worth an ask though.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna
But it
be,
may be worth, if they, I know, cause they did someone mention, not mention, Everett Dam Road,
Yeah,
in between the two houses is telephone poles that carry no power line, cause the power comes from Dunbarton on the upper end,
okay,
it comes from the weir line on the lower end, and in between those phone poles that travel to the rest of us are Dunbarton's, obligation to put in.
okay. Interesting.
okay,
So,
yeah, worth an ask anyway, I think.
alrighty then.
Okay,
You wanna make a motion for regarding to spend the money and move forward?
yep, I'll make a motion to, accept the R&T electric bid, make the phone call to see if we can do something about the postal driller, but if not, accept this bid as it is and move forward.
You
Second,
got a second? Any more discussion?
No,
no.
All those in favor?
aye,
Aye. Opposed?
thank you, John.
Are you voting, or? I didn't hear you, that's why.
I said aye
I'm
before,
okay.
that's
A little bit
okay,
sure.
you don't have to hear me anymore, so.
I don't, I need them. Thank you, John.
And while I'm sitting here, just
No, you're time's up,
one.
you're done.
Oh, you're done, John,
Okay.
see you later, buddy.
Okay, so that means I get to eat later. Are you doing appointments tonight, committee appointments?
I haven't seen any,
It's on
It's
here.
on our list,
It's
on
right-
the list.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it's right here.
It's on
Oh.
the table, so it
Oh,
should be
okay.
underneath your
or
paperwork.
somewhere, yeah.
Linda had one in everyone's place.
Oh, they're in. Somehow we got, oh,
This is it.
gotcha, gotcha, I got them right
Yeah,
here.
right here.
Find it?
Yep. They're underneath the, here.
Are you Terry?
Yep.
My question is, there are two, reappointment members as well as, the selectmen's rep
Mhm.
committee.
Yep.
In the selectmen's rep, if it could be someone who could, sometimes come to a meeting.
That was on my list tonight, to didn't go through these, you know, I think there's like, 8 different ones, let's see. You get the planning board, what else was it? Highway safety energy, what's the look there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I know you gave me a list of them on an email.
There's still, these are the ones,
This
she
is-
has them listed, highway, planning, energy, historical awareness, KPMA.
I thought there was more than that.
Nope,
We did one last week, or two.
Yeah, that was Jonathan.
And,
Oh, we had the,
Yeah,
planning board.
Right, no, but this is for, selectmen reps.
Oh.
What we do.
Okay. Yeah, so just keep in mind that
Mhm.
if there's a option there,
Yep.
someone who could, meetings are the third Monday of the month at 7.
Yeah, lost my name. Right, this one's missing. Absolutely, when are your, energy meeting again?
Third Monday, 7 p.m. here.
Monday at 7, okay. Planning board's the third Wednesday.
Yeah, I think,
So-
it's quarterly,
Yeah.
right, they got one coming up.
Historical awareness, I don't know when that is.
Last Monday.
The last Monday?
Yep.
Thank you, Lou. Highway safety is as needed. Probably should be quarterly, but do that more on a regular basis,
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
so.
And when did the planning board get together?
They're the third Wednesday of each month.
Third Wednesday?
Joint loss is quarterly, I believe. But we'll-
Okay,
Alrighty, appreciate that.
thanks, John.
Kind of delving into our next list is committee appointments. Alright. Pile. Alright. Slips. Actually, I'm gonna grab a salary board because, oh, you're fine. You trying to say I'm fat, my friend?
Nope, me.
Yeah. Some of these have.
there are a few more in there, but I'm not sure if those, if you need them.
Thank you. Thank you. These are, yes. Kinda goes with this one, there's a couple more. Alrighty. So, we have on our committee appointments, you wanna get the general folks out of the way?
Sure.
Alright.
recommendations for all these committees were made by the committee chairs?
Which ones you looking at?
I'm looking at the ones where
On
you've
those,
already got
we just put the, I
appointments.
haven't seen the second page yet. Well, I know the zoning board.
I think some of these people are, re-ups, aren't they?
That's what I'm asking, if they were re-up by the chair of the committees or not.
Well, I know,
These dates here, aren't these the dates they expire?
no, yeah, the new
So-
expirations,
That's new expiration?
yes.
Cause these just say 2016, so as I'm reading this, I'm thinking these are the only two that are up. The others don't expire till 2019.
Well, that's why I get the,
Right?
that's why I get the book here, here's the
I was,
set,
sorry, copy and paste, so just disregard that.
So the 2019's not correct?
so for it probably, cause like Allison for the zoning board of adjustment is 2016
Town
here.
Forest, I'm, still waiting to hear from them, so just cross that part off. I
Okay.
don't think there's, you probably don't have an appointment paper in there. for
Do they
town-
still have a historical awareness? There was nobody as a selectman's rep in the book, in the town report.
A historical awareness, because Ted was a member, he kind of just
Assumed,
assumed, thank you.
Okay,
He
so,
was not appointed as a selectman's rep,
okay,
and
but,
before that, you also have Les on there as well too, so.
right, they just
Yeah.
kind of rode with it.
yes, okay.
So,
So there's really always been one, but
yeah, I know like Allison for the zoning board is, she sent out an email saying that she talked to John and he was good to stay on.
all of these that are listed, that, with the except of Town Forest, just cause that was a typo, I verified this with, I had the committee chairs contact these people, cause in the past, sometimes the selectmen have just gone ahead and reappointed people and they didn't
Yep.
necessarily wanna be reappointed, so I checked first.
That answers my question, I was wondering if the chairs had reappointed these people that were there.
I go with the chair and have them reach out and get back to me.
Yeah, the technology committee hasn't been disbanded to, what,
No.
just hasn't met.
No, we haven't met, but, on that point though, I was kind of appointed as the chair for that, and I really wasn't interested in being the chair, still not. I'd rather be the, a representative, for the board, but I would much rather see, someone who wants to be the chair, and, form a committee around it.
Yep.
I haven't reached out to Jason or any of those guys, that didn't even occur to me, so I'd have to do that, but, if that committee wants to continue, I'd be in favor of it.
Absolutely.
But I don't wanna be the chair, I'd rather be the rep.
Mhm. I think that's fair.
If you get back to me then with a list of
I'll find out,
appointees,
I'll reach
I'll
out, and then I'll talk to those guys and find out what they wanna do. And then if nothing happens there, then maybe we'll advertise on the town webpage to see if there's a group interested, cause I know that, I'm spacing his name here, Bob Ray had mentioned that the, communications thing was trying to formulate again, and I kinda thought that might be a fit, but, I didn't get a chance to talk to him in detail, so maybe I'll talk to
And
those
I
folks
never
first.
reached out to anybody on that, only because I saw that it's been so long since
Yeah.
there've been any minutes, so,
I'll talk to him, I'll reach out, I'll let you know.
thank you.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna go through some of these here, and we can cross some of these off as we go. Because like Jock Belanger, we already appointed as board assessor, so, we already made the motion and passed it last week, so we're good there. We
You just have to
sign
sign the form, and actually, there might be some forms in there that you've already signed, I think it was planning board, they
Yeah.
just got put in that pile.
Alright, I'm gonna make a motion that Lean Camo be appointed as deputy tax collector for term ending March 2019.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Mhm.
All those in favor?
Aye. Yeah,
Yeah, we gotta sign them. I'll let you make a separate pile of those things, cause that way they don't get
Yeah.
caught up in the
Yeah,
basket,
the basket, sure, with that.
cause that's what I can see happening, and we'll end up just trying to figure it all out. Alright, planning board, we have Chuck and Jeff all set, that one's all done. Those are all done. Alrighty, you have the highway safety committee here, so I will make a motion that, just as an FYI, highway safety committee is made up of the road agent, police chief, fire chief, and the selectmen's rep, so. We can talk about selectmen's rep after. I make a motion that we appoint Jeff Crosby, Dan Skloot, and Jonathan Wiggins to the highway safety committee, all term ending in March 2017.
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One for you. One for you. There you go. Told you, get rice cream before you're done. Or else you'll learn how to sign your name. Okay, so that one needs your John Hancock.
Yes.
I don't know if you want. Excuse me. Alright. So we got a letter from Mr. Trotter regarding